Battle Buddies. It's her vet voice, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be walking you through step by step through the CRSC application. That's the combat related special compensation. If you're a retired service member with a VA disability and you believe that some of those conditions are combat related, then this video is definitely for you. I'm going to break down who should be applying, what forms you need, how to walk through the DD form 2860, along with what happens when you send it in. Quick disclaimer, I'm not your lawyer, and this is an educational information only, not legal advice. Always double check with your branch of service or a qualified representative for your specific situation. All right, let's get into it. Before we touch the application, let's make sure we're on the same page about CRSC and what it is. CRSC, or Combat Related Special Compensation, is a tax-free monthly payment for certain military retirees whose VA disabilities are directly tied to combat-related events, things like actual combat, hazardous service, training that stimulates war, or instrumentality of war, for example, certain vehicle accidents, weapons or equipments, etc. It's designed to restore some of or all of the retired pay you lose because of the VA waiver. You can still get your VA pay, but CRXC can give you some extra non-taxable money on top of that if you qualify. I hope you all are tracking with me. So let's check your basic eligibility. Now, before you spend time on the paperwork, let's talk about who's eligible. In general, to even be in the CRSC conversation, you need to be in retired pay status. That means you're a regular retiree, a medical retiree, or a reserve retiree getting or entitled to retired pay. Have a VA disability. You must be receiving at least 10% of VA disability compensation. You have at least one VA rated condition that's combat related under one of those categories we just talked about earlier. And you must apply through the branch you retired from, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, or any uniformed service. If you don't meet those basics, CRSC probably won't be approved. If you do meet them, then stick with me. Now we're going into the step-by-step application process. So step one on how you actually start going through the CRSC process. Before you even download the form, grab your DD-214, your retirement orders, your VA rating decision letters, and code sheets, any line of duty determinations, your medical records, and talk about how and where the injury happened. You also need your award citations or incident reports, especially if they mention combat, IED, weapons, vehicles, airborne operations, etc. Think of it this way. Every condition you claim needs a VA rating and evidence tying it to the combat-related event. Those documents are what CRSC board uses to decide if your disability is truly combat related. So let's go to the next step. You're going to download the DD form 2860. This is the form that you're currently seeing. This is the application that you're going to use to get through to complete your application to send it on to your prospective branch of service. Make sure you're using the correct edition of the form. The official version right now is of 07, I think 2011 edition, and the instructions say you must complete the entire form, you must sign it, or it's not a valid claim. So download it to your device so you can type in it or print it and fill it out clearly so it's legible for the person who is reviewing your application. So let's walk through the DD form 2860. You can follow me as we go through step by step on what to do. In the first block, let's start in the first section. Section 1 of the DD 2860. This is your basic personal information, your name, social security number, or DOD ID. Next, it's going to have your contact information, your branch of service, and your retirement date, so on. Fill this out completely and carefully. If you don't know something, it's okay to write, I don't know, or an A if it does not apply to you. The instructions specifically say that's better than leaving the blank space. Do not leave no blank items, especially if you know that something is needed to be in that block. Section number 2. Section number 2 is where you talk about your retirement pay and your VA compensation. What kind of retirement you have, be it regular, medical, or reserves, whether you're actually receiving retirement pay, your VA combined rating, and whether you're getting VA compensation right now. Be sure to be accurate exactly about what you are receiving and be honest and truthful. This helps with confirming that you're retired pay status and that you're actually waiving your retired pay, which is part of how CRSC is calculated. Section number 3. This is where your disabilities, and it's also the heart of the application. This is where many people get denied because they don't clearly connect their disabilities to a combat-related event. You will list each disability you're claiming on its own, usually matching exactly how it appears on your VA rating decision, the same name, same percentage. For each condition, you're going to need 1, the name of the condition and the VA percentage, 2, the VA diagnosis code. If you don't have it, check with your VA static sheet or do a FOIA request so you can get the diagnosis code. Check which combat-related category applies to armed conflict, hazardous service, stimulating war, instrumentality of war, etc. Explain it in plain language how it happens. Think of this as if you're telling the board where you were, what you were doing, what went wrong, and how that connects to your combat or combat type activities. Example, right knee condition for 20%. This occurred during combat patrol in Iraq in 2004 when our vehicle hit an IED. We were thrown inside the vehicle. It was thrown inside the vehicle. We were treated at a facility, later documented in your medical records, and an LOD award, and then you were awarded an award which mentions the incident. That's stronger than just writing knee hurt while deployed. If you have multiple diagnoses, some services require a separate page, which could be page 2 for each diagnosis, especially the Coast Guard. So make sure you always check the branch's instructions. Be clear, be specific, and consistent with your VA decision letters and your service records. Let's go down to 5D, secondary conditions. If you have a secondary condition, if a condition is secondary to another, for example, depression, secondary to a combat-related physical injury, make sure you label that correctly in the space for secondary conditions on the form. Some instructions call this out specifically, so you don't mix your primary and secondary conditions together. Next is Section E, the Certificate of Service. Finally, you reach the certification and the signature part. Read the certificate, sign, and date the form in the correct block. The instructions are very clear that an unsigned form will not be processed and your claim will sit until it is returned. Next is step 6. You are going to attach your documents. Once the form is filled out, it's time to attach your evidence. For each disability you list, try to include the VA rating disability page that shows your condition and your percentage, your medical records or LODs describing the incident, your awards and citations, along with any incidents or accidents that happened that was reported in the line of duty, along with the findings and any other documentation that proves how the condition is combat related. It is very important only to send copies, not your original. The VA and the DoD guidance says that they will not return additional documents. Keep a full copy of everything you send for your own records. So let's get down to step 7 as to where to send the CRSC packet. Now you've gotten a completed DD 2860 and all your supporting evidence. Step 5 is to send your package to the correct address for your branch, not to the VA, but to your Uniform Services CRSC office. On the front page of your application, you will able to see exactly where you can send your application to your branch of service. A few examples are the U.S. Army. It goes to HRC, which is in Fort Knox, and you can see the mailing address. The Navy and the Marine Corps Board in Washington, in the Washington Navy Yard. Details and addresses are on the official Navy site if you have questions. The Air Force and Space Force, you can see that that is in Texas. And the Coast Guard, you can see that that's in Arlington, Virginia. And the NO Air Corps, that is in Maryland. Okay? Because addresses and email options can change, I always recommend you to go to the branch's official CRSC page, verify the current mailing address and any electronic submission before you send anything. Again, send copies and keep your own set at home. So let's talk about the timeline, retro pay, and what happens. Oh boy, this is the part everybody likes, the retro pay. So once your branch gets the package, they'll review the form and all your evidence. They'll decide which conditions are combat related, and if approved, they'll send that information to DFAS, which is the Defense and Accounting Services. DFAS would then calculate your monthly CRSC amount, and your payments show up separately from your retired pay, usually on the first business day of the month, just like your regular retirement payment. There's also the 6-year statute of limitations that can affect how far it goes back based on when you file compared to when you became eligible. So don't sit on this forever. There have been a Supreme Court hearing. There are many things going on behind the scenes, and each branch of service is waiting for guidance in reference to removing the bar and act and taking off the limitations. If you were denied or partially approved, you can also request for reconsideration later, especially if you get new evidence or your VA rating has changed. So let's do a recap. Let's do a quick recap of the CRSC application steps. 1, you're going to confirm you meet the basic criteria, your retired status, your VA rating, and at least one combat-related condition. 2, you're going to gather your documents, meaning your DD-214, retirement orders, VA decision letters, LOD, medical records, citation, etc. 3, you're going to download the form that's on the screen from our official site and use the current version. 4, you're going to fill out the form completely, especially section 3, where you clearly connect each condition to a combat-related event. 5, you're going to attach your supporting evidence, one set for each condition. 6, you're going to sign, date, and send your application to the correct CRSC office if you're of your branch. 7, you're going to watch for your decision, and then DFAS will handle your payment if you're approved. If this was helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to this page so more veterans can find this information. Drop your question in the comments, especially if you're stuck on your specific section of your DD 2860, and I can do a follow-up video where we can go line by line through each example. And if you want more breakdown on VA benefits and how to actually use the benefit you've earned, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. You serve, now is your time to serve. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching Her Vet Voice, and I'll definitely see you around soon.